This is going to be going over some solo teams for the current Otherworldly Breach with Weakening and Fervor sets. It's for friendship farming because now friendship, you can get a ton of it when you use Spectral Cores. So for anybody willing to sit there and just let their phone run, do the solos, this can be a really good way to get friendship on your characters and also free leaves because you get leaves at 12 and 14. The runs take anywhere from like a minute to 2 minutes depending on RNG, probably average. Like if you average it out, it's like a minute and a half generally at most, which isn't like, it's not super fast, but this is, again, faster than Rift Solo, and you spend 4 times the amount of energy at once. So you still do go through your lease pretty fast. I think for people who, you know, if you know who you are, if you want to do this, then do it. The first team we're going to be using is RnL. The other 3 ones are just on Friendship Artifact, ungeared as usual. So RnL, I have her on Lifesteal plus Broken Set. You could probably do like Pen or Torrent. I just kind of auto-geared her and this gets the job done. A lot of your damage is single target attack, so maybe Pen, I just wasn't too sure. Anyways, Daydream Joker is mandatory. And then I do have her in the Imprint Circuit, but it's not for crit damage. I have the Ignore 15% node instead. That's why she's just got a random 4 effectiveness here. It's because that way your Death Break on your S2 and also your Erosion on your S1 is a lot more consistent. It just makes your runs like easier. It won't have as much variance basically. Oh, see, RnL doesn't have 100 effective for evasion, she has 70. It doesn't really matter. Like, the only thing that kind of matters is getting silenced, maybe. But, the boss and the ads don't do a lot of damage. There's no proper, real, like, enrage mechanic, which is why we can do these slow runs so safely. Like, we got silenced there, which kind of sucks. But because there's no, like, true enrage mechanic, it's pretty easy for us to get by and just do these slow runs. Okay, it got kind of dicey there, but we did, because of the silence, but we did manage to like get back here, and Luciella is the one that like does damage and the one that heals, so you pretty much just heal up whenever it gets to her turn. A bit more bulk could be something you consider, but we kind of like tanked everything there and we lived okay. That was one of the longer ones, I think, because of us getting silenced there. Usually it's a bit shorter. I wonder if I can do another run. My inventory might be full. Next unit, we're going to take a look at Charlotte. I think Charlotte's actually pretty good for this, because her S3, with the buff to make it Pen, this does a lot of damage. Full Penetrate with Daydream Joker always does absurd amounts of damage. So this is effectively a Death Break, or better than a Death Break whenever you S3. Getting there is the hard part, because Zio strips a lot, like we mentioned. She gets, you know, somewhere she gets double. She gets 20, it changes, okay, yeah, if she has a buff, it becomes an AoE and you gain double the Fighting Spirit. You need 100 Fighting Spirit to S3. So if you're like getting spam stripped by Zio, where you're not countering while you have buffs, then you're only going to get 25 instead of like 50. Or if you just don't counter at all, you'll very slowly gain 25 per hit. Each counter gives you another 25, plus the CR push is very valuable. But her actual build is just counter, torrent, full damage, full damage. I'm in the Imprint Circuit, the plus 50% crit damage one, because you just want full damage. The boss is not killing you at any point in time. EE, make sure you have the sustain from the S1, the second EE, so that we can skip going lifesteal set or any sort of sustain. And we will just have the Daydream Joker. And Charlotte's one of the ones that like has a lot of variance because you're relying on like counters or just getting stripped or not getting stripped, that sort of thing. Also, timing, sometimes you can get silenced at really bad times, and you'll just like, you'll get silenced right before you get an S3 or something, then you have to wait for like her to loop around and this sort of thing. Can be annoying. We didn't get like any counters there. There's our counter attack right after we got a buff too, so very nice. If we counterattack there, we would have gotten to S3. So here, that counterattack is unbuffed, but that CR push is great, because without that CR push, we probably wouldn't have cut Zero and would have gotten silenced. Look at how much damage that thing is doing. That is because we had a more good RNG with the timing of our S3. That little gold number at the top there, the lower the number, the more damage he takes, the higher the number, the less damage he takes. So if she ripped that S3 into, say, like a 7, it wouldn't have done nearly as much damage as we did when we hit on that 3. Okay, so we 15% it there, and we counterattack. That is, like, really good RNG, and this is one of the faster runs because we had such good RNG. Average for this, I've done, like, maybe like a couple 10 runs, like a minute and a half ish. I think it's like that's not bad. Like you think about like a riff solo is like 2 to 3 minutes. So this is definitely not bad at all. And also 4x the stamina spending. So yeah, those two are probably my favorites. I think there's a lot of units that can do this. Like when I was testing, I tested some really dog units like Fire Avi. Fire Avi did it okay. Even Aria did it okay. It was not good, by the way. Aria was really, really bad. I'm just saying it worked. I think Riposte Fern probably goes crazy here. I don't have Riposte here. And besides that, there's probably like some other options. You want some sort of mix of like AoE, sustain, counterattack, and I think for damage purposes, you really want either Death Break or some sort of Death Pen. Or I guess just ridiculous amounts of damage works. Fern has like the 50% pen, but that's kind of just like big damage, right? But yeah, that's the general setup for how to solo this thing with like really any unit. I'm going to do one more Charlotte run, and my inventory is full. I'm going to do one more Charlotte run just because like we know it's like pretty high RNG, and we can see the variance, because I mean, RnL's pretty simple. I think Charlotte's the more interesting one. Here we're getting like considerably worse RNG, right? Like we didn't get a counter with the buff on. We took so long, we got silenced before we get S3 again. Not that we even like we didn't counter at all, so we wouldn't have had the fighting spirit anyways. We finally get a counter attack, and now we can S3. And you see the number is at 7. We're not going to do like as much damage as we did last time. Last time the 3 just chunked them out super hard. There, the RNG's coming back around. We're instantly at 100. As long as we can take our turn without getting silenced, we'll be good, and we are fine, so we just kill him. So yeah, lots of fluctuation. Suddenly a bad run turned into an okay one. But yeah, good luck with your breach farming. I know a lot of people need weakening gear, as I roll nothing but fervor gear. But yeah, good luck.